All right, this is 10 Google Sheets I wish someone would make and I would actually pay for. So, in this video is going to be 100% bias, 100% opinion from me to you. If you're looking for ideas on what to make or how to make it, I think this video is going to be super helpful to you because I'm going to explain not just the sheet I want and what it does, but over the course of all of these, I think you'll get a sense of some really interesting ideas on like the basics of getting a Google Sheet that you can sell. Getting the basic format down, done, and then get it to sell, get it into paying hands, which I am willing to pay. I'm willing to shell out the dollars for this, for these sheets. And then you'll get me to pay for it. You'll get me to give you feedback on how to make it better. And I think I want to get across to you who's watching, if you're not able to build Google Sheets now that can sell, ideally this video should help you, again, get that first idea out into a Google Sheet, put it on Gumroad, put it on some site that you can sell to someone. But let's get going, right? I want to get these ideas out there into the world because I want to pay for them. You'll see over the course of all these 10 sheets that there is maybe a common theme, that I'm looking for an expert, someone who has done interesting things before and is now putting that expertise into a Google Sheet, into a format that I as a consumer can play around with, use, not just get, right? A course or a video course is really good for just exposing knowledge to someone. But these, I want to get someone who's an expert at that thing, get them to give me the numbers to tweak, the things to do, and then let me do it. All right, let's get started. First off, it's really a fun one. This is a really fun one. It's going to be a board game creator. Yes, I want a Google Sheet that I can create a board game in. I know there are things like Tabletop Simulator. This is a full-powered suite. You can live in a game, you can create a game, make it. Here's Tabletop Playground. Again, it's a full-on app, software that creates a game you can play. But I'm looking for something where I really understand, if you as a board game creator, you've already created a board game, and you know the math behind good games, then build that into a Google Sheet. Put all the math in there, right? We all understand the math behind rock, paper, scissors. It's each one of these three beats the other one and has a 33% chance of winning, right? But put that into the idea of like world building. And so I think one really cool starting point is obviously the math, but this is a 400 prompts on world building. And I love this Google Sheet because one, it works phenomenally well in like little tiny progress bars as you go through it. It's a really good design, but it gives you that idea that there's so many worlds to build. Now, from this, I can build a world, but now I need the math. I need the math behind a good game. So I think if you have built a board game before, if you've created a board game and you understand the math behind that one board game or where you got it, I think one easy way to start this sheet to create it is to put formats of games, right? Take an existing game, say Monopoly, and just break down all the math and say, like, here's literally the list of all the math that's involved in this game, dice rolls, where things go. People have broken down Monopoly before. There's experts who play Monopoly and understand where are the winning features of it. People know the math. There's Magic the Gathering has a lot of math. Poker has a lot of math. There's great poker simulators that are pure math. Those poker simulators could definitely be made into a Google Sheet. And there's a lot of poker, especially Texas Hold'em, is a really small game, right? You have 2 cards to start with. You have 5 cards that are community, and that's all the math there. right? All the gamemanship and the meta game you don't really have to deal with until you want to like be good at the game against other people. But the game itself has basic math in it, and I think some enterprising board game person could create a Google Sheet where you could essentially take formats, right? Formats of, say, poker or rock, paper, scissors, and meld them together into a really fun board game. Add in that story elements and create a board game. I think that would be fun. Again, I'm looking for this sheet. So I would think if I could be able to export the sort of cards, right? If I could export, say, 50 cards, and I know all the math involved in how they beat each other and stuff, something like Dominion or not Star Wars, oh my god, Star Realms, I was thinking Star Realms, has basic math in it, and the creators behind that know the math there. They dealt with the math through play testing, right? If I could, say, like a deck building game, but make it a super simple one so that you can say, okay, I want to create 12 cards, that there's 4 cards each, and you're going to draw one and you can pay for things. What is the math behind that? Break down all the math. I think that's a good way to start a board game creator in a Google Sheet. Okay, moving on. Fiverr Finder. Cool. 1 second. I'll get you some links. So you might think that Fiverr has already dealt with this, right? Fiverr has their search bar, right? But the way that Fiverr works is that you have to know exactly the skill you need to, the keyword, and this works sort of good on both sides. The searcher understands the word website design, the profile has website designer, and they get matched, right? But if you want to acquire a team of, say, 3 to 5 Fiverrs around a project, what are those skills that I need? I would love to know, based on a project, what skills do I need to find on Fiverr? Right? So just to say that again is, I want basically a project-based search tool that I know, like a checklist is the easiest way to start this. Say, I want to write a book. Well, I need someone to interview me and write, right? A journalist / writer. I need an editor to editorialize that. I need a book design layout person, right? And then I need a book cover artist, an illustrator. So those are four types of people, and I don't necessarily know what are the best keywords to find there. So someone who has hired maybe a bunch of people on Fiverr could make this sheet, could say, start off with a few very interesting projects, right? I want to start a podcast, or I want to write a book. Here are the 4 types of people you need to hire. Maybe you need to do promotions for that, and that could be a whole section of social media, email copywriting, and then here are the 3 keywords and a link to get them. So that's it. That's where I would start, is I would put together a project on each tab, have a link to the already keyworded Fiverr search, and then I would get that into the hands of 100 people. Get some feedback, get like, hey, did this save you time to find the keywords to find them? But when hiring, what did you go through? So maybe there's a hiring checklist. You could break down the hiring process on Fiverr. This could also work on Upwork, where I find it much easier to create a Google Doc that says, do this task for $25, and then after that, I'll review your work and maybe give you more work. Which is a very weird way to hire people, where normally you look at their work, you interview them for an hour, meet them, discuss, and then hire them for a long time. Whereas I really just want to get fast to the work. So give you a sample paid gig, and then from that, see who I want to hire for longer term projects or more gigs. Fiverr could be the similar way, right? Could it be like, also, this is the other thing, is creating perfect job description, right? Generate a job description for your project, right? That could work on Upwork. But a Fiverr Finder, I think, could help really well. Again, this is something I would pay for. If you know the keywords based on a project, I will give you like 3 projects I want to do. Well, I already said write a book, start a podcast that has a host of different things you need to do. So one thing is probably rebrand a blog. 3 parts of that I know are, well, I need illustrations. Maybe even within illustration, I need like a design framework made. So just give me like 10 illustrations of these blogs. I need sort of a little bit of SEO help, right? I would need a designer to just spend 20 minutes to an hour or 2 tops looking at my site and saying, here's the color scheme. I would love that. Like someone who's like, oh, here's the color scheme you should use. Perhaps there could be a good checklist to hire 10 to 20 writers. I know that sounds like a lot, but like on Fiverr, I should be able to like hire a lot of people to do the same task, which is write a blog or take an existing blog and do something with it, visualize it, right? Can I find this illustrator, like 10 illustrators, take an existing blog and illustrate it? So that would become an illustration for that blog post, plus a Twitter post, plus Instagram. That would work, right? That would be a lot of work to find 10 to 20 illustrators that do that kind of thing. But that's what a Fiverr Finder could do. One more piece that I want to, if you're looking for more ideas, Fiverr sort of gives you the framework. If you look at their popular services here, like logo design, it gives you the framework of how to hire someone. You need to select a style, and then you have some options here, right? These are all within Fiverr, and I'm not saying to recreate this, but this could give you a nice visual design idea of how would you build a Fiverr Finder for other things, or a project-based, right? This is if I just want to find a logo person. But I want to find a logo person for a project. I want to find a writer for a project. I want to find a logo person and a writer for a project. So this, I think, could help you, right? If I want to write a book, but I don't want to write a book that's like 20,000 words, what if I wanted to write 20,000 word essays and I want to have, break that down, right? It might be a system like this, right? I want to create maybe tweets, right? I want to do 20,000 words divided by 200, on average, 200 characters. I guess that's characters divided by 6, right? I'm looking for 600 tweets. Bad, not a bad goal, right? I want to write 600 tweets, so I need like 50 from 12 people. Not bad. So I think if you are a good project manager, I think a Fiverr Finder is a great tool to sell on Gumroad. If you know how to break down projects into their atomic elements and delegate that, I think a Fiverr Finder would be awesome. So if you're creating something like this, the price I would offer, or I would like to pay, if it were just a link, right? If it were just a list of links, I'm not going to pay anything for that. That would be a great, and I don't mean that in a really bad way. I mean that in a good way. I mean like, that's a great lead magnet. Then if you were like, hey, I have 100 people who got this free link, and I got feedback from them that said like, oh, I need this next thing. I need this next thing. I want to hire this person or this thing. Then create a larger sort of process-oriented info product, Google Sheet, and charge, what would I pay? Probably $19 to like $29, depending on how easy it is to use. If I could use it in, basically thinking $19. If I buy it and I use it and I hire 10 people within a day, I'm spending something around at least $50 on Fiverr, maybe more, probably 100. I'm spending $100, but you've made it so that it took a day-long process into 20 minutes, right? That is worth an easy $19, $29. And I got my project done, right? And I spent another 100 on that, or 200. If then I use it continuously and you update it basically based on like more projects, right? You could be talking 99 to $100 for, say, depending on the size of the project and my budget, right? If I'm spending $500 on a project and I'm getting it done on Fiverr, you can charge me $100 and I'd be happy, right? If that took a week-long process to put it down to a day, or a month-long process and put it down to a day. If you are a good project manager, this could even be a great lead magnet. Charge people like $49 for this document, the ones that want more, like, hey, I did this and it took me a week, but I'd really like to just delegate this process to you for $500 a week is a really good thing. All right, next up, map maker. So maps maker. So this is gonna sound really strange, I think. I would actually it's more like a route maker, a visual route maker. I want you to take a visual route and pixelize it in cells. This idea came from a personal frustration with building a travel Google Sheet, like a travel guide in a Google Sheet. I kept thinking, like, how could I visualize in a Google Sheet this travel? And the only thing I could think about was a map in which, but pixelized. I've literally tried to find software that will take a picture and turn it into a Google Sheet. The only thing I found was to an Excel sheet. There's like a great sort of TED Talk / lecture of this person making cells in an Excel sheet, basically red, green, blue, and then taking a photo and putting it in there. I think it's actually a bit simpler than that process. Like, if I want to take a route from, say, Los Angeles to New York, or New York to Los Angeles, a fairly common and fun route, and I want to put that in a Google Sheet, that's going to be basically a top header portion and pixelized to like stops, right? Maybe 10 to 20 to 30 stops along this 43-hour route, 2,800 miles. You're going to stop, every 100 miles or so on average. 100, so that's like 28, 30 stops. What's interesting is if I know the route, I can sort of easily just plunk it in and do it manually. But if I didn't know the route and I wanted to have sort of a visual element of height, right? It's going from New York down to Los Angeles. Or I wanted to have a map that showed this tiny route. I think it's pretty hard to pixelate maps right now. And if you found a good software to do that, or GitHub through some JavaScript could do that and turn that into a Google Sheet, I think that'd be really fun. And I would use it. I would use it to make travel Google Sheets. And I just need the map portion. Because this is software, I bet I would use this I would spend easily $5 to $10 per use. So I want to make around 10 to 20 travel Google Sheets over the next year or two. I have sort of a lot of backlog of travel experience, and I just want to make these Google Sheets that espouse of the more interesting parts of travel, like a few cities that I've been to that I'm like, oh, here's a fun way to travel through the city or visit the city. One really funny way you could make this bigger than just selling to me is take, Airbnb should have a visual representation of the area, like a neighborhood. I think they do this. I think Airbnb has neighborhood travel guides. But if a single Airbnb host wants to make one, I think they do that. But sell it, right? Instead, and sell it, but then give it free to every Airbnb guest that they have. I've looked for this to myself. I'm like, I want to have a visual representation of the neighborhood around my Airbnb that I'm hosting, and I want to put little links to things on there. And that's where a Google Sheet could be really awesome. Take this sort of pixelated version, what a bus map or a public transportation map looks like, right? Very sort of pixelated version of an actual city map. And put links, like good restaurants along these routes. And it's going to be very, up and down, like a very pixelated map. I think it'd be a great asset for Airbnb hosts to be able to quickly map their location and then plug in a bunch of links to restaurants or activities. Oh, and absolutely show the travel time or distance time between them. I think that would be fun. If you can do that in JavaScript, you can do that in Google Script. All right, next one, API Maker. Ooh, this one is tough. So I created only sheets, and that is code. That is a script that you use to sell access to Google Sheets. It combines Gumroad. Once somebody buys something on Gumroad, it gives them access to a Google Sheet. And I sell the script so that you can use the web app. But I have a web app for myself, and I've done this as well with a Telegram bot. I have the web app, and other people can use this web app that's on my sort of server on Google. And this could be a really easy way to get a simple API click tracker. So I have also created in a Google script a click tracker. You can get that. I think there's a YouTube link to basically I made Bitly in a Google Sheet. What's interesting is if I thought of an API and I didn't really want to get the hosting, I didn't want to set it up all the way, I could do it in a Google Sheet, in a Google script. But how can I measure the uses of it? And that's what I think a Google Sheet is really good for here. It should have like a really nice dashboard that just shows the number of uses. You could even combine it with like Stripe. If you have Stripe, if you know how to do Stripe integration and you can do that in JavaScript, do it in a Google Script and then sell access to that. I think you could make a pretty penny for people who want to prototype APIs, don't necessarily have the full coding experience to know how do I make an API. So again, it'd be like measuring the use, like having a nice dashboard in a Google Sheet that shows usage, revenue potential, number of customers, that kind of thing. Speaking of APIs and Stripe integration, I would love someone to create a great Stripe dashboard in a Google Sheet. And this is probably someone who understands the underlying use of Stripe, but just is a really good designer. Someone who understands just great business operations as well. Like if you can design for business operations, I think you'll have a huge career. But someone who's like having fun in a Google Sheet and just wants to create a really good dashboard, I think is super monetizable. I've created a Stripe webhook in Google Script. It's available here on GitHub for anyone who wants it. And allows someone to, so this would be the sort of tech behind it. But really for this Google Sheet that I want someone to create, I really wish someone would do this, is someone with really good design skills, right? You understand business intelligence, you understand the difference between actual MRR and what Stripe MRR shows you. There's something weird going on where in Stripe it'll show you your MRR, but it like does a couple calculations that slightly different than if I was just calculating it myself. And if you understand that difference, I think you'll be and you know design, I think you'd be really good at making this. And one part of the Stripe dashboard in a Google Sheet is month-to-month changes. Make it really easy to create a report for, say, bank loans or just posting in public. Maybe a build in public dashboard where the Stripe dashboard is your own personal one, but you can take screenshots or PDF downloads and share them with people. It'd be a really fun way for a designer to create like an open page or for their startup or other people's startups. A well-designed build in public or open page might not get you more customers necessarily, but does get you more attention. What if you had different tabs of like an investor update? Like instead of updating just build in public, if you could easily download a PDF from this Google Sheet that email all my investors once a month, or backers, or shareholders, not shareholders, stakeholders, people who are interested in the health of the company, financial health of a company, right? That's going to be, yes, investors, but it'll also be employees. It'll also be people who might be your customers or enterprise customers. I don't know. I think someone who has a good business design background could do a really good job of this. And pricing-wise, what would I pay for this? I mean, I don't check Stripe often. I should check it more. You know what? What I would love is if somebody built this and could quickly make, I could help them with this if this is the weird part, is a script that automatically emails me a link to download a PDF. So instead of having to go check this dashboard, in Google Script, you can create a daily email that sends you a link of a URL, and then immediately is a PDF. That would be, or a screenshot, or numbers in a email. That is super easy. If you're a Better Sheets member, there is a great video that is super popular among members where it just shows you how to create a daily email reminder. That I could add to this. Man, what would I pay for it? That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, it would definitely depend on the maturity of the design. If it had like 3 or 4 features that I'm like, oh shit, I would use this every day, right? That's going to be a $50 thing. If it's like, oh, I use this weekly or monthly, only that's 12 times a year, I would spend $12 on it, right? I think that gives you a nice idea of what you should price it at. All right, next one is super personal. I would love a Google Sheet that acts as a personal or a family CRM specifically to strengthen relationships. Being remote, being asynchronous, and with the pandemic for the past over a year, it's really strained familial relationships, not just with like parents and aunts, uncles, grandparents, but also with very close friends, with my own personal lifestyle of travel. I've created lots of very short-lived relationships that I would love to like continue and catch up. And I find myself every few weeks emailing a couple dozen people with the subject line catch up. And I think someone who has high emotional intelligence or is a really good, or like occupationally is in like family therapy or something, is like, how do we divert people away from therapy and get them into like a really nice bonds with all their family and friends? They would know this. Someone who knows how to keep up with people daily or weekly through digital means. I think why this would be a Google Sheet is 2 reasons. One, the simplest thing. Here's a list of ideas on what you can do on Zoom with your family. Like things other than just like, tell me what is happening this week. That is one of the most mind-boggling things to me, is that every single week, so I have this is a total personal thing. I have a weekly call with my parents, and every single week we go, what happened the last week? And I'm like, nothing. I lived my life. I'm working on my business. Like, what do I have to tell you either the best thing that happened or the worst thing that happened? Oh my God, I got sick for a day, or we went to Disney World. Oh, we didn't go to Disney World, but I went to the beach, or I went for a long walk. It's like the best thing that happened to me. I would love a list of resources on what can I do with family, friends, that is not just talking or sharing personal story starters or activities like show and tell. One really good thing that happened over the last few weeks is that my parents will find a photo of me and share that story of me. That's really good. And to record those would be awesome. I should be recording those. And something like that is a really simple tip or tool trick that you can put into a list of resources for personal family starting to keep up with people. So I think a basic version of this, like I said, it could be an idea generator or a list of resources. cool things to do with family or friends on Zoom. Things to do between those times of face-to-face contact, right? That could be a year, that could be months. That doesn't even have to be pandemic related, right? It doesn't have to be like, I haven't seen my parents for a year. It could be like, oh, I haven't seen them for a month. And even without the pandemic, there's people that have long-distance relationships with friends, family, that need to be strengthened. The next order of hardship, sort of beyond that, right, beyond just a list, is give me the tools needed to actually keep up with people. Daily or weekly reminders is one thing. We can do that with a script, or just emailing yourself. But also, you could put a URL. Say you had a list of email starters. Like, instead of the email that says, catch up, can we hop on a call and catch up about what our lives are like? Give me like 50 other versions of that. Is there a way to keep up with people that is without jumping on a call, right? Is there, are there email subject lines that I should use with my family? Put in a single URL, one click to email. You can do that with Gmail. You can create a URL that opens my Gmail and drafts that email message. So I have a Twitter template sheet, 100 Twitter templates, and right next to each one is a one-button click to Twitter. It opens Twitter up, and it's called a Twitter intent link. You can do that with Gmail as well, and I'm actually working on sort of a sheet that does that for like sales or outbound interview. There's a few different ways to do that, but to put in my family's email addresses and then be able to one-click email them, like, that would be really, really cool. And I would honestly pay, like, I would pay at SaaS product, if this is updated and it's useful and changes every month, I would pay like $20 a month. If it's, because at least that, right? That's what the worth of my family is to me. At least, oh, that sounds weird. But if it's like a one-time product, I would pay $39, $49, depending on its complexity. If it's super simple and it's just a list of resources, yeah, make it free, or $5 or $1 or $10 and with sales. But yeah, I think this could end up being a really pricey SaaS product that you can test in Google Sheets. One example of this, actually, I looked for personal CRM, and it just feels like these are not, they're like sales oriented, even though it's a personal Rolodex. Like, all of this is information about people, but it's to better empower sales, which I think all CRMs are like. And what's the pricing on this? Let's see. Look, $90 a year, $9 a month, $90 a year. If I'm actually able to increase the strength of my personal relationships through a Google Sheet, I would spend double this. I'm not looking to sell anything. I'm looking to have a better life, right? A better experience with my parents, digitally and during those times when it can't be face-to-face. Along with every other idea here, I have a personal vendetta. No, oh my God, vendetta is the wrong word. I have a personal reason for this. I need a community manager helper or aid, or not just a dashboard. Okay, so community management reports are fairly common. You take what your community is, the stats behind them, and create a report. And here you can get this you can get a community management report template, right? And create a dashboard here. But I'm not looking just for a dashboard. Specifically, I am looking for levers to pull. What levers can I pull, and how hard can I pull them throughout my community, right? You are watching this video right now on the Better Sheets YouTube channel. Every subscriber here, we have over 1,000 right now. It's a number, but it's of people, right? That's 1,000 people. Twitter, we have Facebook. There's a Facebook group. I love Google Sheets. Go check it out. Twitter, we're available there. Better Sheets also, mainly the community is people who are getting my emails and have access to the videos, right? But I want to get out to Reddit. I want to get out to TikTok. People need to hear what I need to say on TikTok. And I don't have the skills right at this moment to know what levers exist for community management, what levers should I pull. And I think a dashboard in Google Sheets is just not enough. Just to know the stats, the growth, isn't enough, right? Give me ideas, like how do you build, first off, build community is one thing, right? Community growth is one thing. That's fairly straightforward and there's a lot of resources for that. But how do you engage? How do you get two people in your community talking? As part of a newsletter, so I've ran a newsletter for like 3 years, and I had a few levers to pull, like office hours, like happy hours, meeting times, meetups. It's all pre-pandemic. You could do those and really build a community that way, because community is individual people, but then together. But yeah, what are some projects that I could do? Hackathons, build-a-thons. What are those levers that I can pull where the community creates themselves, like creates amongst themselves, or I just empower or enable that? That's what I want here. So this is pretty hard, I think, because community management is fairly new. It's not just social media management. It is activating different tiers of your community, customer success, stories, community events. It needs to be someone that understands a lot of those and also understands how deep can you go. Because some things, there's things I want to do here on YouTube. Like I did a few giveaways. Those are fun to do, but I can't do them every day. Or can I? Should I be having a giveaway at the end of every video? No, I don't have a giveaway at the end of this video. I'm giving you away these ideas to make you money. These are 10 Google Sheets Google Sheet ideas I'm giving away. And if you're curious about community management, I think this is a good place to start, is create a nice dashboard for community management and then start putting resources in a list and get that out to 100 people. Which of these resources did you actually use? How hard did you pull it? Did you do Facebook? Did you focus on Facebook for a week? Because truly right now, I don't have enough things to do. If I said on Monday morning, I want to start working on my Facebook group, and I want to really empower that and create a great place for it, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I would fill 40 hours in a work week for. I do not know what I would do. So could you just give me those things to do? I go do them, and then I report back. How easy is it? How much did it gain? Those are levers, right? A lever is not just the result you get. It's how hard can you pull it? If I can pull a bunch of levers a little bit, and then the aggregate over that is growth, great. And that's not great. I want to be able to pull a couple levers really hard sometimes. I want to spend 40 hours on something. Where do I start? Again, a free tier, this would be a list of resources or a directory. And then pricing-wise, I would say, because you're really just empowering me to do the work, like, I don't know, like $20, maybe $15 if it was like ideas to do the community. I don't know how I would do the work, but if you could, well, I price the Twitter templates at $15, right? Maybe a little bit more if you're a really, really successful community manager and you're like, I'm putting all this knowledge in, charge $30, $40 at least. All right, on the next one, online course planner. So I have created a course, Better Sheets. Go to bettersheets.co, buy lifetime access right now, or you can buy monthly access. Online course planner is not an online course one. It is, if you are a student of life and you want to, say, learn Ruby, learn programming, learn community management, learn writing, there are a number of online courses, and there are products out there to figure out which course should you take. And you might be familiar with these kinds of things, like udemy.com is the landing page is a great place to find courses I should take. Great. I have like 3 courses I want to take. I want the intro or tutorials or YouTube videos. There's like, I was recently learning and am learning Ruby on Rails. And you type in Ruby on Rails tutorial into YouTube, and there are a dozen great 4-hour, 10-hour videos, 8 hours. I think Travesty has an 8-hour Ruby on Rails crash course, or an hour-long one. This online course planner is to manage that process. Manage myself understanding the tutorial. I want to basically embark on a 36-hour journey learning Facebook ads. All right, give me, some freebie templates from AppSumo. I want some free, I want to do 12 hours of watching YouTube videos, and then I want to pay $50 to $100 for learning, the advanced things or walkthroughs or tutorials from people who've done it before. So all in all, I want to plan that 36 hours of Facebook ads. So yes, right now there's sort of this idea of a Yelp for online courses, where this is on Kernel, and this guy had this idea of a Yelp for course. Well, that's already been tried. Course talk, and I think he even mentions at the end. He's like, this was attempted in 2012, but it appears it didn't do much. Right now, Course Maker, you should check out if you're building courses for technical makers. You can do it easy with Course Maker. So there's more and more courses now than there was in 2012. Way more! My God, exponential increase of courses. So there needs to be a way that, okay, I've found all the courses I want to take. Specifically, I want to know how much time is each one going to take and how many sections and checklists off, right? Gamify the experience of actually doing the course. As a Google Sheet, you can add progress bars, checklists. What is the experience of having a counselor at college map out a 4-year degree? Can you replicate that into a Google Sheet for, say, fundamentals of JavaScript? Or one of the most interesting things I've noticed in web development Twitter is this unending amount of tweets that are just 0 to 10 days, learn HTML, 10 days to 20 days, learn CSS, day 20 to 30, learn JavaScript. That is your 30-day course. And I'm like, that doesn't help at all. That tweet gets 200 retweets, and I'm like, I am no better off now than I was before. In fact, I think I'm a little less informed about how to learn web development because of this tweet, right? Could you actually map out the time it takes over 30 days? Do I have to spend an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 30 minutes a day? There was, I'll repeat this again later on in this video, but there are 6-minute apps. The brilliant idea about that is it's 6 minutes every single day, and you work on your apps, and that is it. It's a 6-minute workout, done and done. How can I learn JavaScript in only 1 hour a day? Could you plan that out over the course of, say, 10 different materials, right? Blogs, YouTube videos, paid courses, masterminds, accountability groups, cohort classes. Stack those all together into a 30-day plan, put that out, and I think you got a really good product. How much should I pay? Depending on how much I'm going to make off of it. If it's a 30, this ship 30 for 30. Can you create a course planner that is 30 days of better writing? And can I use it? I would pay $10 for that. If it's learning Ruby on Rails, right now I'm learning Ruby on Rails, and I had to draw out, just because I'm a visual learner, I had to draw out a map for myself. It's over here. You can't see it. Checkbox and really gamify that experience of, okay, getting through these sections. Oh my God, I'm 50% of the way through. Now it's easy. Oh, the next 50% is going to take twice as long because they're longer sections. Okay, that's good to see visually, right? I pay more for a coding one because hopefully it's someone who's vetted, a boot camp or a free, and really put the work in to figure out how long does this take. Reading this material, walking through these YouTube tutorials. I did a 4-hour Ruby on Rails tutorial it took me 2 days to get through a 4-hour Ruby on Rails tutorial. Be realistic. Be really simplistic, not simplistic, but realistic with time management. That's what I want out of an online course planner. Moving on. All right, we have now the Perfect Mastermind. Oh my God, this is such a pain in the neck for me. I feel like masterminds are super useful, right? It's like-minded peers, a group of people getting together that are similar or 1 or 2 steps above or behind people. And even if you're 1 step behind someone, you can give them value, right? By having a different brain, a different perspective, a different point of view. And this is where I think masterminds that I've been a part of have broken down, where they need to really, every single person needs to both give something and get something out of a perfect mastermind. There are tools for this, right? I've seen a lot of this as Mastermind Jam. It's a accountability, business mastermind accountability group. I've joined a few of these, accountability group for writing, for businesses. I've joined free groups that sort of devolve into a chat group. Most of them start synchronously. A cohort of people doing the same thing in a specific time. I think the key here of having the perfect mastermind in a Google Sheet is to be asynchronous. How can you create asynchronous communications between a group of people that are similar in some way, maybe similar in their journey or similar in that they really need to be able to help each other. And that's hard. I think the hard part is the mix of people. What this sheet needs and why I can't create it and why I want someone else to create this is you need to be a great, 1, people person, but 2, a great facilitator. Knowing how people match and knowing the psychology behind that match. I have a Google Sheet as part of Better Letters that is a coffee matching thing, but it's super dumb. I mean, it's literally dumb because all it does is match everyone to one other person. It has no filter, that's what I mean by dumb. It's a really fun little tool to use if you want to create a coffee chat for your newsletter subscribers, to really create a community management little thing. But the script itself is dumb. It doesn't know these people. It doesn't match them, right? If you say, let's use a writing group, for example. You should be able to bring a host of different people together that puzzle pieces fit together, right? Writers that are trying to become more visual, visualizers are trying to write more, editors who are trying to write more, or writers who want to edit more. Give them the tools to match each other really well and produce work together. I think collaboration is something I've never seen with Mastermind. It's usually just get on a half-hour call or an hour call and just chat. But that only gets you so much, and that's really more of a mentorship program, right? What are the puzzle pieces that a good mastermind could produce? I don't know. That's where a good facilitator, a good people person will be really excellent at this. Depending on if this is to create a mastermind or if this is a mastermind sheet, I would pay different things. If it's just tools and tips to how to be a good person in a mastermind, that would be a good sheet. A list of tools and resources for that, again, free to $10. If I could, so I have Better Letters. It is a bunch of scripts that make it really clicks a bunch of clicks to create a newsletter. If you could do that with a mastermind, if you could put into a Google Sheet all of the scripts and ideas and execute them, my God, you're talking $40, $50 out of this. Right? If I could plug and play, put a sheet, put it on my Twitter, be like, hey, join this sheet. Go take a look at this sheet. If you want to be part of the mastermind, join here. Click there. Yeah, $40, $50. I'm raring to go. I would love to do this. All right. Now, we're getting so personal. We're talking about my weight. I am overweight, and I need a body weight fitness planner. I don't need a personal trainer. I don't need a membership to a gym because I'm not going to gym. It's a freaking pandemic right now. I don't want to buy any weights. I don't want to buy anything. I just want to clear a space in my office. I want to clear a space next to my bed and just start working out. Okay, why is this a Google Sheet and not just a YouTube video? Well, I've tried to read through Reddit's like bodyweight fitness community here. There's calisthenics here. Hybrid Calisthenics is one of the first people, one of the very first YouTube channels that I've actually put into practice because he breaks down the push-up into here's how you start. He understands that fitness is a journey and everybody starts somewhere and then builds on that. How can you create a Google Sheet for this? Track stats, get the start. A good Google Sheet is going to be useful from the beginning. Enter my body weight. Track my actual weight. Track how many push-ups am I doing? What type of push-ups am I doing? And then add one every day. Give me a plan. So not just tracker. This is not a body weight fitness tracker, which is sort of simple. I can make that Google Sheet myself. What is it that I should be doing tomorrow? I want to wake up and have a plan in front of me that says, okay, yesterday I did 150 wall push-ups. Today I need to do 150 wall push-ups plus 10 sit-ups. Or what really, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out Hybrid Calisthenics. He gives a plan to say, okay, do 150 wall push-ups. If you can do that, then do 140 elevated push-ups. If you can do that, do 50 push-ups from the ground. Gives you that full-length plan, makes it super easy to start. I don't have to think about it. I literally just started this like a few weeks ago, and it's absolutely empowering and enabling me to actually do fitness, and I'm losing weight. And the plan, right? If the plan is to lose weight, give me the tracker to lose weight. If the plan is to build muscle, figure out a way to get me to put in the muscle. What are the other health benefits that I should be able to see from bodyweight fitness? Put those in a planner. Give me that plan and show me that every day increments. I need to do a little bit more each day or take a rest day. I am doing right now, because I haven't been in the gym for a few years, I'm doing no rest days. Okay? Put that in the plan. Say, hey, if you want to go hard, go 7 days a week. Here's what you do. Here's what to do to avoid burning out. Here's what to do to avoid getting injured, right? If there's no rest days, how does your body recuperate? Okay, you need 8 hours of sleep or 9 hours of sleep. I don't know. I need someone who would essentially be a personal trainer to create a Google Sheet that is the facsimile or a Xerox copy of a trainer, right? I don't need to be trained. I just need a plan. That is what this is, and I would be really excited. You know, a personal trainer is going to be like $150 a month. For a Google Sheet that does the work for me for, say, the first 12 months, just until we get out of this pandemic, right? I would pay $100 if that person really knows what they're doing, and this really gives me a daily task list, and I can increment it, right? Give me that feedback. Okay, my body weight is going down. I'm getting stronger. I'm going to the next level. I'm doing more push-ups. I'm doing sit-ups now. What are the other body weight things I can do? And then give me also like one great thing that I did about 7 years ago that got me working out in the gym was not even doing the gym exercises. I had a friend who gave me exercises I could do around the house with objects I already had, right? Things like pick up a table, fill a backpack with as much weight as you can, put it up on a high shelf. Things like that around the house that I can do that increase that fitness. Do that 50 times. Do a step. You have one step? Okay, you got a stair stepper. Here's what to do. That would be incredibly life-building and make me a better person, a healthier person, a more alert person during the workday. Make sure I'm drinking 6 bottles of water a day. That's what I need in a Google Sheet. So this was 10 Google Sheets I wish someone would make and I would actually pay for. I've given you all the ideas behind them, why I need them. I've given you prices for each one that I would pay for it. If you're an expert at that thing, again, I'm not necessarily looking for someone just to build a Google Sheet. I am looking for an expert in that thing that will also build a Google Sheet, and I would be really excited to pay for. I'd be really excited to use. I would be really excited to give feedback to. Build the Google Sheet, and I hope this gives you some ideas as well. Maybe the exact thing that I say is something you can't create or you don't have the experience, but look at your own experience. I gave a lot of ideas on how to get an initial free sheet out there to get it in the hands of people. I've given you some ideas on how to create a little info product to charge $10 for, and I've given you a few ways to think about how should I charge for a Google Sheet. If the Google Sheet's going to do a lot of stuff for me, charge a lot, charge $100. If the Google Sheet just gives me resources, that might be a lead magnet. Again, going through, give me the math behind a board game. Give me the ability to find Fiverr people based on the project. Give me a really cool pixelated visual map. Give me an API dashboard that really helps me charge and see usage of an API that I can usually build an API in a Google script web app. Seriously. Speaking of web apps, Stripe. I created the code. It's in GitHub for you to create a Stripe integration. I want someone really good at dashboards to build the dashboard for me. In this pandemic, man, my personal and family relations have been strained, and I don't know how to keep them up. I send emails, but you probably know better than me if you're really good at this stuff. And speaking of being good at this stuff, if you're a community manager and you want to build an info product, help me manage my community. If you are very knowledgeable about taking online courses and can project manage them, build a planner for online courses. If you are great at building masterminds, enable me to build a perfect mastermind in a Google Sheet. If you're a personal trainer and really good at breaking down like Hybrid Calisthenics did on YouTube, break down how can I work out in my home without a gym, without paying $100 a month for a gym, or even $20 a month. If I go to 24-hour fitness, right? $20 a month. Charge me just the entry fee. Oh my God, the worst thing about gym memberships is that there is a initiation fee plus a monthly membership. Charge me just the initiation fee and give me a bodyweight fitness planner that I can spend 12 months on. That's 10 Google Sheets I wish someone would make and I would actually pay for. Thank you so much. Bye, and subscribe.